Assalamualaikum et bonjour. Today we are going to look at the most important verbs which we can use when describing our daily activities and telling people our daily routines. It is known as verb pronominal. Okay, so you have verb pronominal, or in English it is called reflexive or reciprocal verbs. Now, let's get started. What are the examples of verbs which fall under this category, verb pronominal? I'm going to give you two examples. The first one is se réveiller. Second one is se promener. Well, se réveiller here means to wake up, and se promener means to go for a walk. And how do I know these two verbs are verb pronominal? Okay, it is the verb pronominal when it is constructed with se. And obviously here, se réveiller and se promener are constructed with se. Okay? Right. Now, besides this, you also have another one which is looking like this. Now, it is actually se, okay? But because the verb here, the spelling of the verb habiller starts with the vowel H. You remember? When it becomes apostrophe when you have the vowel A, E, I, O, U, H and Y. Actually, S apostrophe here is se. So, s'habiller also is categorized as verb pronominal. Okay? Right. Now, let's look at the meaning or the definition of the verb pronominal. The verb pronominal is the verbs whose subjects, person performing the action or doing the action, and the object, the person being acted upon, are the same person. So you have two things here, subject and object. These two are the same person. For example, we have the verb je me réveille. Well, je me réveille means, je me réveille means I wake up. So I is a subject and object is me. It is the same person. So now let's look at the chart. You have here subject, person performing the action or doing the action, and you have object, person being acted upon. So these two are the same person. Okay? Okay, so let's look at the verb. Example, okay, so you have the verb se doucher. Se doucher means to shower. Okay, so this is the verb pronominal. So in English it means I shower, you shower, and etc. Well, the subject here is I who shower, is I, okay, and to whom the action of showering is done, it is to me. So the same person is subject and object. Right. Okay. Right. Just now we have seen the verb se doucher. Okay, so now to get a better view on what is the verb pronominal, let's look at the second explanation. Well, the verb pronominal indicates that the subject who does the action is also the direct object who has the action done to them. Okay, so looking at this chart, you have again same thing, subject and object. So subject who does the action and object who has the action done to them. So these two are the same person. Now, let's look at another examples of verb pronominal. You have the verb s'habiller. Well, s'habiller means to get dressed. Okay, for example, here we have I get dressed, you get dressed, and etc. in English. Well, the subject is I who get dressed, and to whom the action of getting dressed is done? It is to me. So, same person here. Okay? Right. Well, we have seen what is the verb pronominal, and there are actually 3 types of verb pronominal, but in this clip we are going to look at only 2. Okay, we have reflexive verb and reciprocal verb. Right? Reflexive verb is when one is doing the action to oneself, and reciprocal when few subjects are doing the action to one another. Well, reflexive is very easy. You have seen it so many times just now. Se réveiller. So, it is reflexive. Now, I'm going to give you one example of the verb, reciprocal verb. Well, actually, reflexive verb and reciprocal are verb pronominal still, okay? Well, you have the verb se téléphoner. Okay, right? Verb se téléphoner. Well, téléphoner means call, to call. But when you have se téléphoner, call each other. Example, we call each other. Okay, we here is nous. Okay, we is nous. So, nous téléphonons. It means we call each other. So, few subjects are doing the action to one another. We call each other. Okay? Right? Now, so, okay? Right? Now we know the meaning and the types of verb pronominal. We are going to look at how these verb pronominal are formed or are constructed. In the chart here, we can see how these verbs are formed. Okay, we have 3 parts here. We have subject, reflexive pronouns, and pronominal verbs. So here subject, je, reflexive pronouns is me, and réveil is the verb. Okay, right? So je me réveille means I wake myself up, or simply I wake up. If you look closely, you can see that. Look closely, you can see that pronominal verb is placed after reflexive pronouns. Okay, pronominal verb is one of it is réveiller. Reflexive pronouns, you have one of it is me. Well, so reflexive, under reflexive pronouns you have me, te, se, nous, vous, and again se. And subject, one of example is je. Well, and other examples are je, tu, il, elle, nous, vous, and it and elle. Well, again here, reflexive pronouns has to agree with the subject. That's why je comes with me. Okay? Cannot be with something else. Je, the pair is me. Okay? Right? So, pronominal verb, example, se réveiller is placed after reflexive pronouns. Okay, reflexive pronouns like me, te, se, nous, vous, and se, which has to agree with the subject. Je, tu, il, elle, nous, vous, and il and elle. Right? Okay. To form a sentence with verb pronominal, there are 3 steps. First, we place the subject. Je. So we have here je. Then we choose the reflexive pronoun which agrees with the subject, and here is me. Okay? Me. Right? Later we conjugate the verb. Okay? The verb réveiller ends with er. Okay? So it's pretty easy. So we have réveil, right? Can you see that? So the first step is place the subject, then put the reflexive pronoun, which has to agree with the subject, then conjugate the verb as usual. Now here we have in this section, we have the verb pronominal se réveiller, which is constructed in present tense. So you have je me réveille, I wake up. Tu te réveilles, you wake up. Il, elle se réveille, he, she wakes up. Nous, nous réveillons, we wake up. Vous, vous réveillez, you wake up. Il, elle se réveille, they wake up. Okay? Again, please take note that the reflexive verb is when you wake up, you perform the action on yourself. So, se réveiller here is the reflexive verb. Okay, so as you can see here, the reflexive pronoun is me, te, se, nous, vous, se. I mentioned this now. Je has to agree with me. Okay, you cannot pair with se. Cannot. Okay, it has to be with me. Okay, and which reflexive pronoun you choose always depends on the subject. This is subject. This is a reflexive pronoun. Okay, and this is what we call reflexive verb, and it is the first type of the verb pronominal. Okay, right. Now, so reflexive verb, again I repeat, when you wake up, you perform the action on yourself. So se réveiller is the reflexive verb. Okay, so how about the second type of the verb pronominal, which is reciprocal verb? Remember, just now I mentioned that we are going to look at only two types of verb pronominal. The first one is reflexive, the second one is reciprocal. And how do we know whether the verb pronominal is a reciprocal verb? Here is the clue. When there is an expression each other in English, okay? Reciprocal verb is usually used. It's now we call each other. Remember the verb se téléphoner? We call each other. So that's why se téléphoner is the verb pronominal but in the category reciprocal verb. Okay? So actually, reflexive pronouns of a reciprocal verb can be translated to each other. Again, example, se téléphoner, it means to call each other. Well, but be very, very careful, pay attention. A lot of reflexive and reciprocal verbs can also be used in a non-reflexive or non-reciprocal verb. For example, I have a few examples here. Je me réveille à 6 heures. Okay, you have je me réveille à 6 heures. It is reflexive. It means I wake up at 6. But the second one here, je réveille ma fille à 7 heures. It means I wake my daughter up at 7. It is non-reflexive because I don't wake myself. Subject and object are not the same person, but here it is I wake my daughter. The subject is I, but my daughter here is object. So this is what we call non-reflexive verb. It is used in this form. Okay, let's look at another example. Okay, now the same meaning, the same explanation actually. Je me réveille à 6 heures. The verb réveil, it is reflexive here because it is I who wake me up at 6. Do you agree? Okay, now the second explanation. Je réveille ma fille à 7 heures. The verb réveil here, it is not reflexive, non-reflexive because it is my daughter that I wake up and it's not myself. So just like what I mentioned earlier just now, right? Okay? Okay, in this part, we have a list of both reflexive verbs and also reciprocal verbs, okay? Now, let's look at the reflexive verbs first. So you have se brosser, to brush one's hair, Se coiffer. Now, se brosser les cheveux. Les cheveux is hair. Now you have se coiffer, to fix one's hair. Se maquiller, to put makeup on. Se raser, to shave oneself. Se laver les mains, to wash one's hand. Se dépêcher, to hurry. S'asseoir, to sit down. Se coucher, to go to bed. Se lever, to get up. And se reposer, to rest. So these are the list of reflexive verbs, but the common one, okay? Not all. And here we have the list of the most common reciprocal verbs. Not all, but only the most common. So you have s'adorer, to adore one another. S'aimer, to love one another. Se comprendre, to understand one another. Se rencontrer, to meet one another. And se téléphoner, to call or phone each other. Okay, so now let's look at the full conjugation of the few verbs pronominaux in present tense. So you have here se réveiller, to wake up. Je me réveille, tu te réveilles, il, elle se réveille, nous nous réveillons, vous vous réveillez, il, elle se réveille. So this is the first one. The second one is se doucher, to take shower. Je me douche, tu te douches, il, elle se douche, nous nous douchons, vous vous douchez, il, elle se douche. Okay, douche. Next, se coucher, to go to bed. Je me couche, tu te couches, il, elle se couche, nous nous couchons, vous vous couchez, and il, elle se couche. Next, we have the verb s'habiller, to get dressed. Je m'habille, tu t'habilles, il, elle s'habille. Please take note, the L is silent, it becomes Y. Nous nous habillons, vous vous habillez, il, elle s'habille. And of course, the last one is se connecter, to log in or to connect to internet or to UFuture. You have je me connecte, tu te connectes, il, elle se connecte, nous nous connectons, vous vous connectez, il, elle se connecte. Well, all these are reflexive verbs. You have 5 in this chapter, okay? So I hope you are able to get the gist of what is a verb pronominal all about and why do we use these verbs in describing our daily routines. And how many types of verb pronominal, how it is constructed, and most importantly, how to use when writing a sentence on daily activities. Okay, now. So, I'm wishing you all bon courage, bonne continuation et merci beaucoup. Au revoir.